started when GM was up for sale, and I thought, you know, this might be our last hope. I had a study done right after taking office showing that we've lost most or all of our manufacturing jobs, all of our livable wages jobs, that we're becoming a service economy. And this study said you had two opportunities, and I can show it to you. It was like early 13, it said the port in Delaware City. So with Kimoko saying, who owns that land? We said we cannot let GM, with 10 rails behind it, with an entrance of 495 on the front, become anything but something that's attached to high-paying jobs in the Port of Wilmington. GM is railed to the Port of Wilmington. So we said the way to protect it is to try to buy it. We called the Chinese company, we put in an offer. Got a call from them just before I came here. They want us to meet in Illinois in 2 weeks. But getting beyond that, the next day I get a visit from Kimoko, Jack, and they're saying, what are you doing with that GM? So whatever it is, it's got to do with the port. You want to combine the two together. We have nothing left in this state. And I guarantee you, if we add hundreds of thousands, if we add thousands of jobs, you'll reduce the crime in the city of Wilmington 80, 90% overnight. I spent 23 years as a police officer, police chief, FBI Academy, SBI Academy, every academy in the world. I can tell you that's a fact, and Dennis Williams will tell you that's what's wrong with his city. That he's lost all those jobs. So it wasn't a rocket scientist to say, well, who owns that land? We brought it up on a computer, we hit the button, Nikki Ferreira. Now, I don't know, is Nikki here yet? Can Nikki stand up? Now, he's the kid, you know. I won't put too much pressure on him. But this guy, I said, can you meet me down on your land, which is owned by Newcastle City, regulated. I said, can you meet me down on your land? I'm bringing some friends. And he walked there and he said, I never knew I owned all this river. Now, he never knew he owned. And I said to him, I didn't lie, I said, you may have a gold mine here. Because if what I'm hearing is true, this is going to be the #1 port in the country, and at least in the United States, and I stake my reputation on this. The study got done, the study was paid for by the longshoremen, and the study you're going to see is lowballing everything. The numbers are impeachable. There are no regulations or roadblocks that could stop this. And if this gets done, it gets done quickly. Immediately, you get the AFL-CIO building it, and within 2 years, you have shippers from all over the world coming here first. And I stake my reputation. I will resign if what I'm telling you is not true.
In July of 2013, we asked the question, when I say we, I mean ILA, myself, the officers of 1694, and other officers at the Port of Wilmington. Why? When can we get a container port or facility built at the Port of Wilmington? The existing Port of Wilmington, we were limited in terms of expansion because of certain factors on the Delaware side that would take probably from 10 to 15 or maybe more years for the land to be ready. And so I began to just on my own to search for alternative places to build a port. Came across a bridge looking to the left and seeing all this green land. And I rode down Cherry Lane and rode down, if anybody knows that area, probation and parole is down there in Cherry Lane, you know, and then I took that right and went all the way around and seen all this stretch of land. And so, having a relationship with County Executive Tom Gordon, I thought that was the county's, and I thought the county owned it. So I asked him, I said, do you guys own that land? He said, I don't know. He said, I'm gonna go check it out. He said, I'm gonna find out who owns that land. Because him and I had been talking, and he was in agreement with the fact that there was a lot of jobs being lost because GM and Chrysler, Delaware City lost jobs, that we had to find some plan in some way to bring back, good paying blue collar jobs. And I suggested him to the port, and he said, I'm interested. He said, I'm interested in that. And I gave him a lot of material to read on the shipping industry because he said, I don't know anything about shipping. Give me the stuff to read, and I'll study it, and I'll get back to you. So I gave him piles and piles of information on shipping, shipping trends, you know, the economic impact of ports in different areas of the country. And he read, he came and said, I'm ready. He said, this sounds good, it sounds great. He said, this could solve our unemployment problems you know, that we have because we lost those other plans.
I said, well, hold on. We got to get approval and we got to get the top people in here. If we're going to do this, we're not trying to embarrass anybody, but we're going to do it right. We're going to get the best of the best that knows how to do a study. So at that point, I went to the international. I got my 2 international officials here, Bob Gladden, which is the ACD, Jim Keller, which is the international vice president. And I went to them and I said, look, we need some money. He said, what do you mean? I said, we need some money to get a study done by Paul Richardson. I said, if we don't get it done by the best around the world, it's going to fail. And I said, and we're not paying anybody to make it right or wrong. We want the truth to be done on this project so to come out and people can ask any question they want and they'll get the truth, and it won't be when we're trying to hide something or we're trying to do this. We want it to be done professionally and done by the right people. So I went to them, and the international crew said, okay, we'll take care of this and we'll pay for it. What do you need? We want a container facility so we can create jobs for Delawareans and other people because it's going to be a widespread sector. It's just not for the longshoremen. I don't want anybody here to think we just create jobs for longshoremen. It's a spinoff of every sector, and whether you're union or non-union, it's a spinoff of every. I'm not talking about ILA. I'm talking about a spinoff for every sector in the job market because we also talked to Tom about the distribution center. And I went to Tom, I said, hold it, what are you going to do with GM? I said, because you can take and put a distribution center there, put 3 shifts in there. I said, they won't be making $25 or $30 an hour, but $15 to $20 an hour will sustain a family. I said, you put people to work. I said, Delaware's hurt. We done lost everything. We got to get people involved again in going to work and helping their families and taking care of their families. Because when GM closed and Chrysler closed, most of the people then are sitting home. How can I tell an 18-year-old something and I don't have a job to do anything with? And he's sitting home trying to figure out, can I go to school? My parents can't afford it, so what am I going to do? So these are some of the things that we looked at before we ever got started. And then I started asking questions because I deal with the stevedores every day. And the Port of Wilmington, and it's not going to take 1 ounce of work from the Port of Wilmington. All we're trying to do is enhance shipper to say, look, we got 2 spots you can look at. You got the Port of Wilmington, which right now, most people know that work at the Port of Wilmington. We're landlocked. And what I mean by that, we can't bring any other cargo in here because they don't have any space. The state said they don't have money. That's not a knock on the government, so don't anybody take it the wrong way. They just don't have the money to put in the budget to do it. So we figured, okay, if we can get a container facility south of the port now, then shippers will say, look, wait a minute, we got another alternative. I had 2 shippers tell us last week, and one of the stevedores went down Richmond on Wednesday to try to draw work here. People that know on the Diamond State Board that we might lose Chiquita in the next 5 years if we don't do something. It's no myth, it's just the true facts. If Paulsburg get up and running, there's a good chance that we can lose Chiquita. And there we would lose roughly 460 jobs. And that's direct jobs. I'm not talking about indirect with the truckers and the other spinoff on it. So what we did, to make a long story short, is we brought Paul Richardson and Ed Zimmerman to come in to do a study.
Paul Richardson is a maritime advisory. We do projects like this on a global basis. But there is a guy who is really Paul Richardson. And some people think that Malcolm McLean was the inventor of containerization. And many people credit Paul Richardson with being the godfather. He took it from, he took Sealand from 1 ship in a service to Europe to service in 65 countries and 400 ships a week. So over the last couple of decades, he's had this advisory service that I've been really proud to be part of. Worked on a number of projects here in Delaware. We'll mention some of those. It's good to see folks that I haven't seen in a while, but two of my colleagues that I want to introduce, Brad Winfrey, who's heads up the terminal practice, and Ray Camarda, who's on the business planning process. So, as Bill mentioned, this is a public forum, and it's to give you information about where the project is. The project is not complete in the sense of a report. So the first question is why? And why are you doing this? And it's pretty simple. If you look at its employment opportunities, as Bill and Tom Gordon mentioned this morning, there's no doubt that the maritime sector, if you could creates unbelievable regional economic impact. It's not us that is saying this. There's a lot of folks, a lot of experts, a lot of scholars, all say the same thing. The maritime industry creates the greatest regional economic impact. It beats banking, retail, technology, insurance. It's by far the greatest generator of dollars, direct dollars, indirect dollars, induced dollars, related dollars. So what we're looking at here is creating those kind of employment opportunities. And as Bill mentioned, it's not just about longshore, but there's all types of spin-off opportunities. And last but not least, we've got to tee up the state of Delaware for the next 30, 50, 75 years. Because that's the life of the port. And you're making a decision today, or not today, but through this process, you're starting to make a decision today about how the state's going to be positioned for decades. That's what we're looking at. That's the type of decision.
I came to an event today, and I'm thinking I'm going to see 10, 15 people, and they're going to talk about another possible. Mr. Tom Gordon, our county executive, I am totally blown away with the potential of what's coming. Can you kind of explain to us?
We have the best opportunity in the world to have the #1 port on the East Coast. We are blessed with geography. And it is an opportunity for people in the city and around the city to have real livable wages, jobs where they can earn a living, buy houses, buy cars, and live the American dream like they used to. And it's not a dream, it's real. The numbers are real. We have the best location in the country. The study showed it. It's a matter of getting it going quickly.
And you guys are moving it, because I'm listening, and what excites me the most is toward the end of it, because we're going to talk to different people throughout this show, but toward the end of it, you know, they were talking about, well, how long is it going to take? You're looking, if we can get everything done and in place, this could be running in the next 2 years.
Everybody wants to talk about the problems of the city, the crime in the city. It's all caused by jobs. It's caused by opportunities. I guarantee you, if this gets going, crime in the city will drop by 80+%, and you will not have a problem that you have right now. It's caused by lack of opportunity, lack of employment, and lack of jobs, and this is the antidote. I promise you. This is what's going to cure them.
You talked about it when you were making your speech up there about, you know, the different education you've had in law enforcement over the years and stuff, and the studies that have been done that you've been involved with, and you know this for a fact, and you know it so much that you said your reputation. I couldn't believe you. You said, "I'll resign right now if this doesn't happen," you know, because it's one of those deals that you know what it's going to do. If we can get this done, which I can't see, Tom, I can't see how we can't get it done.
I think we have about 65% of the males in the city of Wilmington in the prison. That is not the answer. The answer is opportunity, and I guarantee you they'll be like everybody else in the world, and Delaware's hurting, where you give them an opportunity to earn a living, a hard-working living, and they will pay us back with, as it said, they'll buy food, cars, taxes, homes, and the economy kickstarts. Well, we got to get it done.
We've seen that with other projects that you guys have got going on, training programs and everything else, where these young guys are building houses, learn how to be carpenters, and now they're contributing to the community versus out here. And if I got to feed myself and my family, Tom, I'm out here on the street. I got to do something. And the last thing I want to do is turn to crime. But a lot of them have no choice.
Look, good people do bad things if they have to feed their families. But we're talking 12,000 jobs here, and most of them are great paying jobs.
and this has got to happen now.
And we got to make it happen now, and we got to. I want to see you down there with that shovel going, and digging that first hole. And everything seems to be in place. I can't, and environmental things, issues, and stuff like that. A lot of that's already been done. I can't see where we're not digging a hole pretty soon.
We're gonna, and listen, people come from as far as Smyrna. This is going to be Bear, Newark, Middletown. It's all over the county, not just the city of Wilmington. It's got to be done. It's got to be done now. People need hope.
Yeah, and if there's any back, and I'm gonna try to keep people up to date on what's going on with this, and but any support that this needs, I'm gonna try to get that community. I can't see a negative thing, because I was telling the other gentleman, no matter what, if we get this here, you're talking 12,000 jobs. I'm looking. That's kind of instant. That's instantaneous. I'm looking at hundreds of thousands of jobs as years go on.
That's a minimum. And let me tell you, there's a guy here from the Farm Bureau said Washington Farm Bureau, everything east of the Mississippi will come here to be exported. It has got such potential that we've only begun to dream how many thousands. So we're lowballing the numbers, but it's many thousands.
Yeah, there's no doubt, because as I said to other folks, when this happens, I can see a manufacturer that might be 2 states over and saying, wait, if I build my product in Delaware and ship it out of Delaware, how much money am I going to save by just moving it over there?
It's the best port. You don't have to come in and out of the bridges. You come in off the ocean, you're in and out in 45 minutes.
Fantastic. You got a kudos real quick, Tom. I know you had a lot to do with it, but you had a gentleman come your way that somebody had to come up to you and say, hey, I got an idea.
It was Mr. Harris, Kimoko. Look, I don't know any of this stuff. They came to me and they asked me, why aren't we using the port? And the question stuck in my mind. I don't know why we're not using the port, but I know that they went out, they paid for a study. This is good men and women that are saying, give me a chance, and we will turn our economy around. We'll turn our race around. Give me a chance. And I never heard such a thing like that before. I've never seen a longshoreman that's not a hard worker, because there's 10 in line ready to take their place.
And they say they pay more money, and I'm getting a badge that says I love Mr. Harris, because you called him a genius. I agree with you. What an idea to come up with, Mr. Ashe, Mr. Harris, to present to you and saying, hey, and you looked at it and said, wait a minute, what are we doing here?
I listened to him. He taught me, and it turned out today it was validated that what he said was accurate. That was a real consultant, nationally known, one of the best in the country, and he said you have the best port. As a fact, we got to get it done.
What a great event this was today. We had so many distinguished guests. Charles Potter, state representative, was one of those distinguished guests. You got to be excited. There's some things that got to take place, but I see this as a no-brainer.
Well, I want to congratulate the ILA, Mr. Ashe, Kimoko, and of course our county exec, Tom Gordon. I mean, this is what you talk about, having vision. And of course, we need to create jobs and opportunities for people, and a newness, and all the additional spin-off jobs and the income that it will bring into the city, the county, and the state. This is wonderful.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I sat and listened to it. I thought, well, that's going to be one of those boring things. And I got here and it just blew my mind, because you're talking a potential of not 4, 5, 6,000. You're talking a potential as years go on. This could, looking at these other ports that's done this over the years, hundreds of thousands of jobs, not just on a port, but springing off of that port. So it could change the economy in Delaware real quick.
I think so, and I believe that we got to take a serious look at this to make this happen. The governor needs to get involved, all the elected officials, all the stakeholders, the public, because we don't have anything else that we can hang our hat on. So why not do this together and make it happen?
Charles, we thank you so much. It sounds like you got your support. And folks, if you're out there.
Completely. State Rep Potter support all the way. Tom Gordon, great job. Kimoko, Mr. Ashe, ILA, great job.
This gentleman standing here with me had a lot to do with it, Mr. Ashe. And first of all, the association you're with.
International Longshoreman, president of Local 1694.
Yeah, and you've got to be so excited, because you down at one of the things that we have going still that survived the economy is the port here in Wilmington. But what you guys are looking at doing right now, you're talking about this. I mean, this could be the future of Wilmington.
Well, we're looking at jobs, and I've seen GM and Chrysler close, and I've seen a lot of people lose their jobs and family be destroyed over it. So we just came up with the idea, maybe we can get the port to grow. and maybe we can create jobs. And we're talking about anywhere from 10 to 12,000 jobs for people in the state of Delaware. I mean, all sectors of jobs. I don't just mean longshoremen. It's all types of jobs. Truck drivers, teamsters, you name it. We get the GM plant involved in it. Then you got a distribution center. You put 3 shifts in there, and guess what? You put the Delaware back on the map of having a great economy.
Yeah, and when you're talking about that, because I'm looking at the different ports that's open over throughout the country, and I'm looking at that, I'm looking, wait a minute, these people went from nothing to hundreds of thousands of jobs. So you're talking 10 to 12, maybe right, kind of generating right kind of quickly, but over the years, this could be really big.
Yes, if you look at Savannah and Charleston, the Delaware River is 2 times bigger as the Savannah River. Their water depth is about 38 to 39 feet. With the Delaware will be at 45. Now they doing at least 270,000 jobs. Can you imagine what we can do if we get this out on the Delaware? How many jobs it'll create for the state?
Oh, it'll just keep growing and growing and growing. Because I heard people that came down for this, to hear this, that aren't in this, but they're in the shipping, imports, and export business, and they're interested in, hey, what's going to take place? Because we want to bring stuff down here already.
We got shippers from New York. We got people from Chicago want to ship grain back to the East Coast. I mean, we got shippers from North Carolina that's looking at Delaware to be one of their hubs. I mean, people are interested. We've turned shippers away because we didn't have the space. So this makes it great for Delaware.
I'm telling you, you guys have done some great work. You've done a lot of research. You've got the plans all together. Now we just need to get the entire state supporting it. And I keep telling people, I don't know how can you not support this?
That's a big question that we've been asking. How can you not support people going to work and taking care of their family on a tax base for the state of Delaware? It will drop the state income tax down for a lot of people in the state of Delaware.
Well, not only dropping that, but a lot of people out of work. I see so many people out here. Myself, I mean, I watch my business go from here to here, and everybody, and I deal with business on a daily basis, and everybody's in the same ballgame because people aren't spending them dollars. You're talking about generating and good incomes.
I watch people come to the waterfront as we speak right now to the Port of Wilmington, and they work 1 or 2 days, and they come to me, Mr. Ashe, thank you so much, because they had a regular job, whether it's McDonald's or Wendy's or whoever. They, in 2 days, they make what they make for a week at one of those jobs. And we're talking about creating a lot of jobs for a lot of people. 14, and you said it best, it might be thousands more as time go on if we can create bigger jobs.
Well, look at 75 years from now, and that's what we're talking about. You know, the future of Wilmington, Delaware, the future of Delaware in itself, and bringing back, manufacturers. Because I can picture people say, wait a minute, I can ship my product out of Delaware. I move my product to Delaware and build it here in Delaware. Next thing you know, that starts happening.
Anytime we got the farmers on board from downstate, they're willing to ship products out of the Port of Wilmington and this new facility. And also, we're talking about creating jobs, getting crime off the street in the city of Wilmington, which is now leaking out into the county of Newcastle and Dover. We're talking about putting people to work, and that's all we're trying to do.
I'm going to get a button. I like Mr. Ashe, because I'm telling you, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you so much. And we're going to stay in touch with you and keep up to date what's going on with this.
Thank you very much.
I'm standing here now with another gentleman that's got involved in making this thing come to tuition and making it happen. I mean, this is Mr. Harris. What's your title, Mr. Harris?
I'm the business agent for International Longshoremen Association, Local 1883, which is the Clerks and Checkers Union at the port.
And you guys, because the only thing that's really survived all this economy and seen growth still is the Port of Wilmington. I mean, because there's something, always something there. But now you have the opportunity to expand that port. This should have been done years ago.
Yes, it's been discussed for years, but never has it been, implemented or the attempt to implement it and make it happen. It's always been a discussion that we need. Now we're trying to make it happen.
Now it's not. It's more than need. We have to have this at this point because it is the future of Wilmington. I firmly believe it's the future of Wilmington, Delaware, the state of Delaware, and the growth in the future because we've lost so many, jobs out there, and this is going to bring thousands upon thousands of jobs.
Yes. And like you say, losing, who would have thought years ago that we wouldn't have GM or Chrysler here? I mean, it was almost just taken for granted that GM and Chrysler was going to be here forever. And
then you take on top of that the banking industry changing, and the banks just departed from the state. Then you put on top of that, and you know DuPont was our number one, you know, for how many years?
Exactly.
Well, they've downsized. Hercules is, you know, so many things, and a lot of that, you know, I look at it and I say manufacturers have left here. We can bring manufacturing back here because people that's going to be wanting to ship going to say, wait a minute, if I build it in Delaware, my cost is going to go. So you're going to see that grow too.
Exactly. I mean, usually, I mean, shipping brings all that with it. That's why the shipping industry has the highest of any industry when you're talking about direct and indirect job, you know, production in terms of creating jobs, because manufacturers come, you got a good shipping port, the manufacturers, like you said, they're going to put their plant here to manufacture their goods so they can ship it right out in the same area that their production plants are. And so we bring in this port, it's going to bring in all that. It's going to bring in manufacturers, it's going to bring in a lot of warehouse jobs, you know, because people have to just distribute their cargoes once they come off that ship. So it's a boomerang situation. You know?
Mr. Harris, you guys are working hard. You're going to get this done because it's like I said here a few minutes ago to Mr. Ashe, there is no way. You know, this is something that you guys wanted. When it's not a want anymore, it's a have. We have to have this for the future.
Jobs. You got a lot of young people. Not only young people. Again, Chrysler GM, a lot of middle-aged guys.
I was going to say, where'd I put my app
in?
You know?
Right. So I'm saying, you know, it's going to create those jobs. That's going to
blue collar workers, you know, there's a lot of us out here. I mean, you know, and we need those jobs. I want to thank you for the efforts. Anything we can do to get that word out there, you let us know.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Ashe.
All right, thank you.
First of all, I got to catch this gentleman's name.
Gary Warren.
Gary, I was in there, and what a great meeting this was. And then to hear a farmer step up and say what you said was very inspirational to me, because this is something that, you know, this can change the whole state of Delaware.
Well, it could change the state of Delaware, can change the economy around us. It can change the agricultural economy within several states around us.
Yeah, because you were talking about being out there touring and looking around and everything, talking. You can see a lot of stuff coming from different parts of the country to be shipped out of here.
Exactly, and we can fill those containers that get shipped with the goods from here to the Chicago area. They can be filled in the Chicago area where your biggest grain market is and brought back to this port.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, so I guess we have the farm community backing us.
Well, at this point, I'm pretty sure the farm community will step up. American Farm Bureau has been studying these the lack of infrastructure for our exports for the last 3 or 4 years. They've sent a group of Farm Bureau presidents down to visit the Panama Canal and see what's going on there. And our infrastructure really needs to be updated and improved. And the maintenance that we need is not there right now.
Well, we got to, you know, to me, I'm looking at the ports when he's talking about everything. We got the best location of anybody in the country, really, for the East Coast.
Well, you know, that's why we live here. But yeah, you're correct. We do have the best location, and it's closer from Chicago to here than it is from Chicago to New Orleans, where 70% of the grain is exported now, loaded on.
Let's go down to Mississippi first.
That's exactly right. And those, you know, the price of the grain has dropped this year, and the fees for the barges has increased, and it's really not cost effective at this point for those guys to ship down there. But add that to a bumper crop, and it's a little bit of a puzzle at this point.
We're bringing grain to Delaware too, so thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to catch up with a good friend of mine. Was Lieutenant Governor of the state of Delaware, and now the Congressman for the state of Delaware, John Carney. How are you?
Good to be with you today.
Yeah, when you're talking about, you know, what's happening with today, I mean, a lot of political people here, but to see you come really put a smile on my face, because that's telling me that Washington's getting involved.
Well, it's a really interesting project. Obviously, everybody in the state knows that jobs are the most important issue for all of us, and in particular, jobs that pay middle-income families. We have a lot of jobs at the lower end, and we have a lot of jobs that, frankly, we have trouble filling at the upper end that require a lot of education, advanced degrees. But the middle kind of has been hollowed out in not just the state of Delaware, but our country. And that's the kind of jobs we're talking about here, real middle-income jobs that can be worked and had by folks without a college degree, got a willingness to work hard. Obviously, work ethic's a big part of it, but really a great idea, a great proposal to develop those kind of jobs in our region.
Yeah, when I see when this port comes in, and I keep having this vision of Wilmington and Delaware growing with bringing manufacturers back into the area that want to ship to other areas, because if they build it here, a lot easier to ship it from here and save that cost. So, you know, so you're not only talking about that blue collar job and the lower job, but you can also get into those high tech jobs, more of those.
Oh yeah, we need them all. I mean,
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we need every job that we can get, from the high-end, high-technology jobs, computer science jobs, engineering, all the way down to service jobs, because everybody is somewhere on that continuum at some point in their life. But the part that really bothers me and worries me is those middle-income jobs, the fact that we've lost a lot of our middle class. It's the thing that keeps us together as a country, the idea that if you work hard, you go to work every day, can make a good wage, support your family, and you know, and send your kids to college to do, you know, better than you did. And we just have lost a lot of those jobs. So this is an idea, a proposal that I think that brings that prospect. And the other thing that's going on here, and you mentioned it, one of the reasons we lost all those jobs is because a lot of those industries have moved overseas. And so there's a great demand now for global trade, products coming from these other countries where they're being made into ours. One of the challenges for us is to fill those vessels outbound on the way out. And you heard today discussion about agricultural products in particular. The state of Delaware, that means grain and poultry.
Yeah, I just got through talking to one of the farmers, and he was talking about, you know, how much it's a need in this area. I mean, and how much we got instantaneous. As soon as it's built, we got business coming.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think the outbound trade is important. The other factor that's going on here is that we're in the process of deepening the Delaware River channel. So the larger ships, the deeper draft ships are going to be coming up into the Port of Philadelphia and the region. And right now, most of the ships that come into Wilmington have to come up the Christina, which is only a 38-foot draft. So with this new channel, in order for Delaware and Wilmington to take advantage of it, we need to have terminals out on the river. We do have one at the moment, an auto berth. But the idea of creating others is a good one.
Well, that's where Washington comes in. That's where our guy, good buddy John Carney, going to come.
Yeah, well, we work right now on our big commitment right now is to the channel deepening itself. You know, right now we've in the last cycle, I think we got about $25 to $30 million, and now we got about $100 million, a little bit more than that left to complete the channel deepening project. So
it's underway already then. It's pretty much.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point, is that this is happening in the world. It's happening on the Delaware River, and Wilmington and Delaware has to be part of it.
John, thank you for your time. I know you got to get back up and do your job. Thank you so much.